Traditional marmalade on a cold, wet, early February day here in the UK, in Norfolk. People have got a bit of time on their hands. There's a bit of a STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths to this. Well, why not have a go, eh? Here's the stuff that you need. You obviously need some oranges. These are several oranges, and I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 of those. So you'll need some oranges, you need some sugar, you need an assortment of empty jars for your end product. In terms of kit, you need a big pan to cook it in. You will need a juicer, just a traditional juicer to juice the oranges. Obviously a set of scales, a measuring jug, and you'll need a sort of a fine gauze sieve, something to cut, a jam thermometer, which is very useful in trying to establish what the setting point is of the jam that you require to make marmalade. So the first day of the exercise, or the first time session, because you need, like, day 1 is a prep day, then day 2, and then day 3. It doesn't actually take 3 days, but it's slots of time across a 3-day period. So the first thing you do is weigh the fruit. Now, the recipe is generally formulated over a batch of 2 pounds of fruit. Now I've got 1 pound 11 ounces of fruit there, 27 ounces of fruit. Okay, so for 27 ounces of fruit, or if it was 2 pounds of fruit, you would need 6 pints of water. So when we come to the water quantities, which is really important to get these quantities correct, is we will actually need 5.1 pints of water to go with the fruit mix, 0.85 of a pint of water, hot water, boiling water for the pips. So this is where you want a nice comfortable chair, because it to while away the time, and you cut the washed fruit in half, and then you use your juicer and you juice the good old Blue Peter style fashion. I've juiced all of the oranges. By the only bit of the orange that we don't use is the little bit on the end, okay, where the stalk is. That's the only bit we don't use. And there's the juice in here, as you can see, with all the pips on the outside. In our pot here, I've added 5.1 pints of normal water, cold water. You then add the juice to that particular mixture. So all the orange juice goes in there, a nice juicy Seville's this year. And a little bit of a laborious task now is the pips. We want to pick the pips out of here, and the pips go into this particular pot here. Fast forward, so as you can see, all the pips are now in the bowl here. That's all the pips. Make sure there's no pips in any of your halved oranges, half squeezed oranges. And so on the pips, as I didn't have quite the 2 pounds, it's 0.85 pints of boiling hot water. Okay, it goes on to the pips. And then push that aside and leave that overnight. With the rest of the ingredients, the sieved ingredients, and the pith and the flesh from the oranges all goes into this main pan here. And now the next job is to slice up the oranges. It's down to preference, okay, so you basically, I like it quite thin cut marmalade, okay, so you just slice, peel for your marmalade, such as that. Once you've done that, okay, then this peel all goes in that particular pot there. So there we have all of the oranges all nicely chopped up. This step is really important because this is what you eat at the end of the day. If you like it rough cut, you could probably thicker cut that if you like it. I like it particularly thin cut marmalade. And now all that peel and everything goes into this particular mixture, as so, like so, nicely. So at the end of the first day's production of marmalade, we've reduced the oranges into the mixture, which is the peeled and fruit mixture, complete with water, nicely here. And we've also got the pips in the boiling water there. Alright, so now these two particular ingredients we just set aside overnight, and see you again tomorrow. So we transfer this mixture into the pan as such, make sure, and they're just heated to maybe just warm them and soften them. A lot of the jelly now, as you can see, and one of the reasons why we use the Seville oranges for marmalade is because they are naturally rich in this curious gelling agent called pectin, which causes the marmalade to set, so they're naturally high in pectin. Your job for today is to warm these up and then tip them into a sieve, a fine sieve, and sieve this mixture into the main mixture. So gently heat this mixture. Don't boil it, it's just to get it warm and hot so it flows better and goes through the sieve. So once the mixture is nice and warm, then you just pour those into a sieve, move it around nicely, get it all in there. Once you got as much as that out as possible over the pips, and then you add this liquid, which is the water and the pectins. You add that into the main mix. So there we are, we've just brought the mixture to the boil. As you can see, it's boiling nicely, and the idea now is to turn that down just to a gentle simmer for about, Alexa, set timer for 1 hour 15 minutes.
1 hour and 15 minutes, starting now.
Alexa, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alexa, can you make me a cup of coffee?
I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't.
Oh, there we go. So, time to kick back, make yourself a cup of coffee, and just let that simmer for, I've set the timer for 1 hour 15 minutes on a gentle simmer. 1 hour, and there we go. Alexa, be quiet. And there we go. So we switch off, let it cool down, and we leave that to cool off, leave that overnight, and come back tomorrow for the final stage. Well, welcome back. Here we are for the third session of making marmalade. Now up to now you've got the pan of the liquid, the peel that we cooked yesterday. So that is here. Now for this particular day you want to make sure that you've got some jars ready. If you're ultra organised, you've maybe got some labels done as well, because this is the end result, this is what we're trying to achieve. Now this today is where we boil, basically we add the sugar to the mixture and we boil it to the setting point, so the pectins, the natural ingredients, the pectins come into their own and you get a nice set marmalade, not a runny one and hopefully not too hard set either, so just right and a nice light coloured marmalade which is nicely set. And there are quite a different ways of achieving that. What I would suggest is, because you can do the wrinkle test as you're cooking when you think you're there, so you put a saucer or a plate in the fridge and just chill that down before we start, so that's a nice, I'll come on to that a little bit later on. If you are lucky, we invested in one of these, so we do quite a bit, or my wife is one of us, because she does quite a bit of jam making. So you have a thermometer there, and the temperature that we're looking for, the magic temperature, is 104.5 degrees centigrade. Alright, or so we'll call it 105 degrees centigrade, or 222 degrees Fahrenheit for anybody looking the other side of the pond. Today is to measure out how much liquor with the peel and everything, how much ingredient you've actually got. And for each pint, or part thereof, you have a pound of sugar. So if it's 3.5 pints, it's 3.5 pounds of sugar that you add to the mixture. Right, so I've just decanted the mixture, and that is the 4th pint. So as it turns out, there's exactly 4 pints of the raw material, the mixture, the peel and the water and everything else. 4 pints there. Now 4 pints, easy one. With the sugar, the granulated sugar, you weigh out 4 pounds of sugar. Okay, and I've got 3 pounds in there and a pound in here. Then you add the sugar to the mixture. There we go. Oh my goodness me, there's some sugar in there. We're now ready to transfer this to the stove top and start heating. So here we are now on the stove. We're aiming to get to the jam mark there, which is just above the 100, okay, which is the 104.5 degrees centigrade. There we are at the boil. It's taken about 10 minutes to get to the boil, something like that. I've just put Alexa on for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and nominally that's what it will take. I'll just keep it nicely boiling away and not too vigorous. Whilst you're waiting for the just wash and sterilise jars of hot water. Just let them soak in hot water, pre-warmed the jars as well prior to filling them, and then with a clean tea towel make sure they're nice and clean and dry. It's just got to the temperature, so put a little blob. Yep. So take your plate out of the fridge and then put a little blob and put it back in the fridge. We just turn it down, right down, because you can see now it's up to the jam point, 104 degrees, and you can also see the nature of the bubbles. You can see it's sort of a different nature. So we'll just wait for it to come out of the fridge and do the wrinkle test. So that's 5 minutes and 40 seconds left of the 40-minute timer. So it's had 35 minutes, and you can see that's looking as though it's done. Just turn that down. So there we are, up to temperature. You can see as you push that, it's just crinkling. You see it just crinkling? which indicates that it's on the set. So once the mixture has rested for 15 minutes, you then jar it up. There we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jars. Okay, so once you've decanted it, I normally just do it with a ladle, top it up, and then you put one of those little discs on the top of each jar. So here we are. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jars of various sizes, and a little bit left over. You can see that setting nicely. A nice light colour of Maz's Marvellous Marmalade.